You must like red. Why? 2 shows ago you were playing with that red light, and now you're wearing a red hat. Yeah. Where did you get it? It was in your ex-wife's stuff. Make sure you put it back before she finds out. Otherwise you'll have our balls for breakfast. Yes, sir. Here we go. Greetings, imaginary can of worms. Once again it is I, your semolina of cinnamon, your vicar of very silly attitudes, and your arched back of Frankenberry, B.L. Alley. And who might you be?
I'm Claude Pohl.
Welcome to 11 Views, Milking the Movies. What's this show about, Claude?
We drink milk and talk about movies.
That's right. And tonight, we're talking about the movies of the Star Wars saga. At least the 3 good ones. We also have a special guest joining us.
Is it Santa?
No, it's our friend Daniel.
Yay!
Shall we bring him on? There he is.
Good day, fellas.
Welcome, Dan.
Hello, Mr. Nunda.
Claude, you've known me all your life. Call me Dan.
So how are things over there?
Well, I feel like a bludger during the pandemic, but I'm stoked to be here with you guys. Damn mozzies.
What's a mozzie?
Mosquitoes. Big ones.
What have you been up to, Dan?
Not a lot, B. With no footy on the telly, I'm a stubby short of a 6-pack.
That's funny.
Well, we don't have stubbies, but in honor of Star Wars, we're drinking blue milk tonight. How about you?
I've got the green milk from Lost Jedi.
Space cows.
Shall we? To our favorite Star Wars movies.
Cheers.
Ugh. Not exactly the good stuff.
I don't know. The green isn't too bad.
Well, I'm afraid we've run a bit long, so that's going to do it for tonight's show, Dan.
No, Wuckus. I gotta take a piss anyway.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
See you later.
Bye. Where's he supposed to be from?
Australia, why?
His accent is terrible.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Before we go, I'd like to thank our sponsor. As always, Milking the Movies is brought to you by Hexed Lion Shaving Products. Why buy 1 blade when you can have 3 for triple the price? So how do we end the show, Claude?
Everyone in heat has a story from hell that you have Yeti ears. All your hats with dew will glisten.
And?
Blue milk tastes like crap.
I can't argue with that. Good night.
Well, Elysabeth, here we are on Romantic Friday night on Elysabeth.
Romantic Friday.
Romantic Friday. You excited about Romantic Friday?
I am, because
you picked this movie.
I picked John Carter.
You picked John Carter. Now, is there any particular reason why you picked this movie?
Because this is a great romance. I mean, come on. He falls in love with the Princess of Mars.
Well, she becomes the Princess of Mars. Right?
She is the Princess of Mars.
Okay, she is the Princess of Mars. I thought she was just a scientist when we start out.
She is a scientist, but she's also the Princess of Mars.
All right, well, I think that's good. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Viceroy of Verisimilitude, your Master of Fun and Wonder, your Duke of Dope Discourse, and your Sommelier of Cinema. And I am here with my lovely compatriot, the woman whose show this actually is. And who might you be?
I'm Elysabeth Gwendolyn Belle. I am the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and...
Well, okay. So we are here to talk about a very interesting movie. Andrew Stanton, the director of Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, and WALL-E.
And you know how I feel about Nemo.
I know how you feel about
Dory.
Nemo. This was his first live-action film, and it's based on a beloved book by Edgar Rice Burroughs, the creator of Tarzan.
Yep.
It's the first of his Barsoom novels, A
Yes.
Princess of Mars.
Princess of Mars.
Now, why do you think Disney released this movie?
Wait, maybe we should do the wine first.
Oh, we should do the wine first. I have to say that Claude and Candida sent us some wine, but
We didn't hear the door.
We didn't hear the
because
doorbell.
We had John Carter on really loud.
and so Julius Goodwin also wine showed up today.
Yes.
Now, this is from the Knocking Point Vineyard. I'm not quite. Wait, hang on. Let me move the camera angle. Let me switch. See, it's hard when you don't have a producer on your show. I'm the producer, the writer, the director, and you're the star.
You do it all.
So this is what we're drinking. It looks great to me.
Looks good to me, too.
So, all right then. And thanks to Julius. There you go.
Thank you.
Now, before we talk about this movie, I have stuff to say about this film.
I know you do.
I have a theory about this movie.
Well, shouldn't you save the theory till the end?
Okay, I'll save my theory until the end.
Yeah.
I even have visual aids.
Wow.
I know.
You did your homework.
So anyway, there were many different times, there were many different tries to make this movie. By the way, we did watch the Blu-ray, the Disney Blu-ray. We did not watch it in 3D. We could have, though.
Well, no, because we don't have the glasses.
We're missing another pair of glasses, but yeah. I
so
know.
sad.
It is sad. So this movie they tried to make this movie a lot over the years, many years, and it never got made. Why do you think, with all of the amazing, no, we'll get into that later. I'm not going to bring this up.
You can do your theory now if you want. Go ahead. It's a good theory.
I have a
I'm
theory
down.
about this film. First of all, before I say that, just an overall viewpoint of this film. How do you, if you were to tell somebody whether or not someone says, "Look, you're the arbiter of cinematic excellence." My boyfriend wanted to watch this movie, John Carter, and I'm like, "What is that? A sports movie? Should we watch this film?" Because I don't know. What might you say to her?
I would say yes. You definitely should watch John Carter. I mean, come on, it's Tim Riggins.
Well, then she would say Tim Riggins, but isn't he a football player?
Yeah, but it's Tim Riggins.
For the Dillon Lions? Dillon Panthers? Or the East Dillon Lions? No, seriously. Elucidate. Like, tell us a little bit more. What about, just an overview, how you feel about this movie.
Well, this movie is great. It's an epic love story that takes place over 2 planets. It's pretty cool. I love the premise. It's okay. Maybe the story's a little simple, but it's a great story and it's epic.
It is a great story.
I love it.
I don't think it's going to be I love this movie.
Yeah.
Now, then let me ask you this, since we're going to talk about my theory. Why do you think this movie, if it's based on a book by Edgar Rice Burroughs, a very famous book called A Princess of Mars, and Disney released it, live action director debuted, Andrew Stanton's first live action film, $250 million, this movie was not cheap. And they've spared no expense on this movie. It's truly epic. Why do you think they would call this movie simply John Carter? Is that the sequel to Coach Carter?
No, it seems very, very weird.
Interestingly enough, I don't know where it is. I guess I can't get to it now. I've got a whole omnibus of Marvel Comics. John Carter, Warlord of Mars. If you looked at the ad...
I remember when this film came out, there was a billboard when you're entering Hollywood from Franklin, and you're entering into Hollywood, there was a billboard there, and then I kept wondering, what is this John Carter?
Yeah, because it's all red, and it looked like it was in the desert. It didn't even have a picture. It was a silhouette.
Yeah.
And
then it was there for maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month, and then it was gone. And I had no idea what it was.
This movie, and I'll ask you something else. So this movie is an actual Walt Disney Presents movie.
Yes.
Do you know? Now, you know when Walt Disney makes a movie, they prep the marketing.
Absolutely.
And no one is better than Walt Disney at... Do you know what this movie has none of?
There are no toys, there's no merchandise at all.
Zero merchandise.
Zero. And you never hear about it. There's no characters dressed up at Disneyland.
There's no Woola the space dog.
Could you imagine?
Wouldn't you like to have a stuffed Woola?
I would love to have a Woola with his big blue tongue.
Don't you find that strange?
Very strange.
Why would Disney make a $250 million movie made by one of its most successful directors?
Yes.
His first live-action movie. Why would they not put every single thing they had behind making sure this movie was a billion-dollar hit based on Edgar Rice Burroughs?
Not only that, there's a princess in it.
There is a very beautiful princess who's very capable, kick-ass princess. She can fight. She's a scientist.
Yes. She's an intelligent princess.
She might be the ultimate Disney princess.
I think so.
And yet...
And she's a Martian.
And yet, zero.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Don't you find that odd?
I find it very odd.
I mean, in what universe does Disney do that?
Something's up.
Would you like me to tell you my
yes,
theory?
I love your theory.
I'm gonna tell you my theory of what happened to this movie. And it was, first of all, let's try this. Ooh, that's lovely.
Oh, that's nice. What kind of wine is this?
I'm not really sure. I couldn't.
You can see. You didn't
It does
have your
come with.
glasses
It does
on?
come with a.
Oh, it doesn't say.
Yeah, it's very hard to read.
It is because some of the words are backwards.
Yes, but it is lovely.
Wine you so fine.
Wine you so fine. You so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey.
Hey, Mickey.
Anyway, back to my theory. Here is my theory about John Carter. I believe this movie was murdered. Straight up assassinated. It could never succeed. And I'll tell you why. This movie came out in 2012. So, when I was growing up, as a child, I lived close to Lakeside Drugstore. And Lakeside Drugstore had a lot of spindle racks of paperback books. And one of the omnipresent books, ever-present, omnipresent, books that was always there was A Princess of Mars with this cover. Wait. Why is this not changing over? Hello? Uh-oh. Well, hang on. Let me put it up here. Maybe it will. Maybe I can do it now. This is the paperback book cover that I grew up looking at. All the time. I mean, for years. There was never not a copy of A Princess of Mars. And do you know what movie, do you know what creator, what filmmaker was heavily influenced by Edgar Rice Burroughs and his Barsoom novels?
Well, I mean, if you just look at the cover, I would say...
If you look at the cover, you would say...
George Lucas.
This! Yes, this is the one sheet for Star Wars. This was the A-style one sheet for Star Wars, 1977. And then you look at this, Frank Frazetta's art.
Yeah.
I would say
very
one
similar.
is very redolent of the other.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, here is my theory about the assassination of this movie. This was going to be Disney's biggest fantasy epic.
Yep.
Bob Iger was making this movie. You had Pixar, the most lucrative brand up till Marvel. You're putting all the weight of the studio behind this movie. And sometime during the production of this film, now they blamed it on marketing or whatever. The marketing on this movie, you don't call it A Princess of Mars. At the end of this movie, when it's over, it even says John Carter of Mars, and they had a logo, GCM.
Yeah,
a cool logo. Why wasn't that logo on T-shirts? Bob Iger, sometime between the time this movie started production And it was in post-production. Bob Iger heard a rumor. He heard a rumor that George Lucas was going to sell Star Wars. This is my theory. And Bob Iger was like, Star Wars was heavily influenced by Edgar Rice Burroughs' Barsoom is Mars. For those of you who don't know. Mars, we call it Mars. It's called Barsoom.
Barsoom.
So George Lucas had read these books growing up, heavily influenced, in addition to Flash Gordon and everything else. So Bob Iger was thinking to himself, oh shit, I have a $250 million movie that is going to be the beginning of a space franchise that we hope to make a whole series of films over. And it's, John Carter, Warlord of Mars. Maybe we'll call it a Princess of Mars. And if I sit down with George Lucas to talk about selling Star Wars, I don't want George Lucas to say, well, Bob, you've got this. I think that I don't want George Lucas. I don't want George Lucas to say, Bob, you've got this. You've got my favorite books. I mean, the Barsoom series by Edgar Rice Burroughs. You don't want to buy Star Wars. I think I'm just going to sell it to 20th Century Fox. I'll sell it to Fox. I mean, that's better. You got the Barsoom novels. It's cool, right? So, our boy Bob Iger's like, well, that shit ain't going down. There's no effing way that my boy George Lucas is going to sell Star Wars to anybody but me. We got Star Tours and Indiana Jones. Imagine what we could do.
Yep.
So Bob Iger's made a $250 million movie. What do? You can't how do you tell shareholders, yeah, we just spent $250 million, we're just going to burn it up? How do you tell Pixar? How much money has Pixar made? I mean, the Cars sales from Cars alone, the little Hot Wheels cars, my God. So Bob Iger had to scheme like Bob Iger does. I mean, he's a captain of industry. Basically, I'm going to blame it on marketing. I'm going to sacrifice this movie to the movie gods, and we're not going to say it's from Mars. They don't even mention it's Mars. I mean, this is a lush science fiction epic fantasy. On the heels of Lord of the Rings, you've got Tharks. You got Woola.
Yeah.
You've got, this is incredible. No, we're going to let it die. There was elements. You got Tim Riggins. Tim Riggins starring. So, nope. We're not going to make toys. To me, that's the real telltale sign. This movie was murdered. Bob Iger murdered it so George Lucas would not have an excuse to say no when he made the play.
It sounds like a very sound theory.
Look, and people can be like, they always say to me, oh, Rob, you conspiracy. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is straight up business. This ain't show friends. It's show business. And let me tell you, it was Bob Iger's business to get George Lucas to sell him Star Wars.
I mean, it makes sense.
And this movie died a horrible death at the box office. It didn't make very much money. And I think it's a wonderful film.
It is a wonderful film.
So that's my theory. So, Elizabeth?
They should re-release it.
They should re-release it.
And start over.
Well, now that they own it, I mean, they could.
Yeah, they could.
You could. Well, now that I've gotten my theory out of the way and I've bogarted your program again, what is this movie about?
This is about a science fiction epic story.
It is. And our protagonist, John Carter, is a former Confederate soldier.
Yes.
Who's looking for gold in them thar hills.
Yes, he is a captain of the cavalry. And it starts off explaining that Barsoom was a thriving planet and then started deteriorating, and what was left were two major cities, which one is a mobile city. I don't remember the name. And then the other city, Helium, is probably like the capital.
The mobile city is Zedanga.
Zedanga.
The mobile city of Zedanga, and the mobile city of Zedanga is presided over by the Jedek, who's like the captain, the king, and that Dominic West plays him, the Jedek of Zedanga.
Yes.
And then Helium.
Helium and Deja is the princess of Mars, and her father is the Jeddak of Helium.
Yes, Deja Thoris is the princess of Helium, and her father is the Jeddak. Syrian Hines plays him. He's Tardis Mors, the Jeddak of Helium, and Deja Thoris' father. That's right.
Yeah, and so now the planet has barely any water. It's completely dried up. And these two cities are fighting for, to gain power, to be in charge
the supremacy
of all
of Barsoom,
which is Mars.
Now, there is another mysterious force, the Therns.
The Therns.
And the Therns are like an eternal, godlike race that go to different planets and, like, test them, pit them against each other.
Yeah, one of them explained that they don't exactly destroy planets, but they kind of set things up so that it will lead to destruction because they feed off of that.
They feed off of that, yes. And so Mark Strong is Matai Shang, and his name, I gotta get this right, the Hecador of the Therns, the leader of the Therns.
The leader of the Therns.
Great names.
Yeah, and they can travel between planets, and so they end up, then it goes back to John Carter is being chased by an admiral or something.
Well, there's a great scene where they try and reconscript him into the army now.
Right, they need him.
They need him, and because to fight Indians.
Right.
And he's having none of it. There's this great scene where he keeps trying to escape, and he keeps trying to escape.
And they keep, catching him.
And then he finally escapes with the army on his tail, and then there's a group of Indians there, and he manages to escape and get into this. He gets into the cave that he's looking for, the spider entrance cave or whatever.
Yeah, he gets to the cave, and the Indians are on their trail, and they come up to the cave, and they see a symbol over the cave, and they just slink away. They're scared.
And it's Bryan Cranston, Walter White himself, is the colonel.
Right, and he rescued him because he had been shot with an arrow while they were trying to get away from the Indians.
And then they get into this cave, and it turns out the cave is actually a conduit.
It's one of their.
It's one of the Therns
spots.
the Thern spots to move around from planet to planet.
Yeah. So so the Indians run away, and then he goes to investigate this cave, and one of the Therns shows up, and he's surprised to see John Carter, and John Carter is surprised to see him, and they try to kill each other, and he ends up shooting the Thern, and as the Thern is dying, he grabs his medallion that he's wearing, and the Thern says Barsoom. And so he repeats that and ends up being transported to Barsoom.
And we should say that John Carter's original body is left in this cave.
Right. But you don't learn that until
after. And then he gets transported, rematerialized somehow, a new body, however that works. However the Thern... Oh, and the Therns, we also did not mention, the Therns are aiding Zedanga.
Yeah, they want, because he's just a dumb brute that wants to take over, and that's good for them because it's going to lead to the destruction of the planet.
So Dominic West is being aided and even given a weapon by the Therns.
He is.
And the Therns are basically advising him how to double cross and how to take over. So they're manipulating it. And
they are manipulating it. And they're also able to shift forms, so they're shapeshifters, basically. And so John Carter ends up on Mars, and when he wakes up, he finds that he can't walk, that he keeps falling over and leaping great distances and falling over, and he just can't get a grip on the gravity of the planet.
The gravity of the situation.
He doesn't realize what that is. He's just like, what the hell? And so then he ends up just kind of scooting his feet along to try to get somewhere. And while he's doing that, and he starts climbing this cliff to take a look around, and he does climb up there, and he notices some eggs hatching.
Some eggs are hatching. It's a hatchery he's found.
It's a hatchery. and these weird creatures start coming out of the
Well, I think some of the great creatures in all of science fiction, the Tharks.
Tharks.
They are four-armed, two-legged, bipedal. They're four-armed, but they're bipedal, and they're humanoid, but they've got big animal tusks.
Yeah, and they're green, and they're much larger than humans, taller.
Yeah, much taller than humans, and they're very proud people, and they do not have allegiance. They do not like the people from Helium or the
Right, they
the
don't like
Denga.
the humanoids.
They don't like the humanoids. They don't like the humans.
They call them white apes.
And no, because they're the Redskins.
Oh.
The white apes. John Carter.
Oh, he calls
Yeah.
John Carter a white ape.
So the Tharks. So there's four factions on Barsoom. You've got Zendanga, the city of Zendanga, the people of Helium who are nice, and then you've got the Tharks, who are basically the savages. At least they're looked upon as this, even though they're not. They've got a very code of honor. They're warriors. They're like Klingons in a way. And then you've got the Therns. So there are these four factions on Barsoom vying for power or dealing with one another.
Yes. Okay, so as he's watching these eggs hatch, he hears people coming, and he turns around, and it's these strange creatures riding on these giant weird creatures.
The Tharks are riding on
Tharks.
their version of horses.
Yeah. Which looks like a dinosaur. I don't even know. So, as they approach, he tries to hide, and one of them tells the other Tharks not to shoot. Of course, he doesn't understand what they're saying.
Well, he saw, because there's no gravity, John Carter can leap hundreds of feet into the air, and
he jumped to get out of the way.
Tars
to hide.
Tarkas, the leader of the Tharks, has and he is he's the Jeddak of the Tharks.
He is.
And he has seen this. He's seen John Carter. He doesn't know what John Carter is, but he's seen him like able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Fascinates him. He's like fascinated by this. What is this creature that he's never seen before? And how does he have these strange powers? So he tells the other Tharks not to shoot him, and he tries to approach him, and he tells him his name, and John Carter tells him his name, and he says John Carter of Virginia.
Virginia.
And all he latches onto is Virginia. And so they all start calling him Virginia. And so one of the other Tharks who is vying for leadership, he wants to shoot him. He wants to shoot
Thomas Hayden Church, who plays, let me get this right, Tal Hodges. Mm-hmm. And he wants to be the Jeddak of the Tharks.
He does.
And they can always challenge one another. And there's a lot of political machinations on Barsoom. There's a lot going on.
There is.
And it's interesting because it's pretty sophisticated.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie doesn't dumb itself down.
No.
It's very interesting, and I think this movie's wildly entertaining. Mm-hmm. And do you like Tim Riggins as John Carter?
Oh my God, I love him as John Carter.
I mean, he makes you wet, right? Come on, Tim Riggins. He makes all the girls wet.
Tim Riggins, and like when he's not wearing anything.
Yeah, he's in great shape. and I like him. A lot of people thought he was a little wooden.
I liked him in Friday Night Lights too. So
yeah, but I thought I liked him because
I did too.
I like
great.
How and the way he's trying to figure all this stuff out. The whole fish out of water element in this movie is so much fun to watch. It's so. Again, this movie, the animation, the 3D animated Tharks, beautiful designs. I mean, you would think. Obviously with Pixar involved, the design of this movie, the airships, the solar powered airships they have in this film, the buildings, the weaponry. This is truly a fully realized world that is so well designed, and it seems like it's so. I just can't believe you couldn't buy action figures or those light ships or get plastic models of it.
Or those flying bicycles or whatever they were.
Yeah, and the Tharks themselves. This is why this movie was straight up assassinated. Because there should be a Barsoom land in Disneyland.
There should be. That would be
Barsoom.
fun.
I mean, with Tharks and Woola, and I mean, there's and you meet Deja Thoris, and she's a scientist, and she's also tapping in.
She's an environmentalist.
She's
trying to fix the environment of Mars.
But she's also tapped into the same power that the Therns know about.
And she was going to use that to bring the oceans back and replenish the Earth, basically.
And the Therns, you know, because they can shapeshift, they're in the court. They're in the court of helium, and there's always people that fuck up what she's trying to do.
Yeah, the Therns mess up her contraption that she made, her machine that she was going to use against the, what are they? The moving city people?
The Zodanga.
Zodanga.
So, I mean, then it would take us like a year to explain all of this story, all of the machinations and everything that goes on. But
yeah,
it's truly, there's shifting power, there's prophecies, there's things. I mean, it's a lot to have to lay out.
Okay, so you're saying we shouldn't go through the plot?
Well, I think if you could summarize it, you know, give it a little bit of a put your own zhuzh on it.
Okay, so John Carter ends up with the Tharks, and you know, half of them want to get rid of him, half of them think he's cute or whatever, like a little. They treat him like one of their little babies, one of their little grubs.
You're right.
They look like grubs. And then Sola, which is the daughter of the
of Tars Tarkas.
Yes, she gives him this drink that makes him see Barsoom through, like, almost makes him
the voice of Barsoom.
Yeah, so now he can understand them, and he's understands everyone on the planet.
Right, and they can understand him.
Right. And so, I don't know. Then.
Well, I mean, then begins an odyssey.
Yes.
Of shifting alliances, and John Carter ends up meeting Deja Thoris and fighting when Zodanga is attacking Helium and the troops.
Right.
And there's.
They have these flying. They have like these planes, but they look really cool. Very like.
They're like those solar powered air like they're like giant dirigibles, but they're not.
It's very steampunk.
Yeah, it's very, and that's the design of everything in this movie is beautiful.
Yeah, it's very cool steampunk, like these steampunk planes that they have, and so he sees. I mean, they all see from the Thark village these planes that are chasing each other, and it's two.
Zodaga's attacking Helium.
Yeah, so and one Helium ship, and they're fighting, and the princess is in one of them, and John Carter, she gets captured, and they tell John Carter who she is, and he rescues her, basically.
He rescues her. And I would too, because she's smoking hot.
Yes, she is.
She's really hot.
She's beautiful.
And she's got great tattoos, and she's got this dark skin. I mean, Yeah,
and she's great.
And she's also a great character. She kicks ass.
She kicks ass.
She's royal. She's smart.
He's like, step back and let me, stand behind me while he's trying to, like, kill these soldiers.
And I have to say, there's great hand-to-hand combat scenes. I mean, they're wielding swords, and they do have guns and things like that, but I mean, everything about this movie is really well done.
It is.
And I saw this movie in the theater on opening weekend, and I was convinced this movie was going to be a huge hit despite the horrible marketing.
Yeah.
It was not. And I think
because nobody knew about it. Like, if I'd known.
But it's based on one of the most foundational science fiction novels. I know people don't read anymore. But when I was a kid, you had to read these. If you were a science fiction fan as a kid, you had to read Edgar Rice Burroughs. I mean, Disney has made Tarzan movies. It's that's another thing. The fact that they would allow all of this effort, that they wouldn't put their best efforts behind it, it's shocking to me. Because just watching it again with you, it's so entertaining.
It is so entertaining.
It's so much fun if you're a science fiction fan. If you like, if you like Game of Thrones, but it's also pulp sci-fi with aliens. It's also very funny.
And it's kind of Indiana Jones-ish too.
Yep, absolutely. There's a historical element to it.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah. Shall we keep trying to
Well, I mean, it could take us for. It gets so convoluted. It's sort of hard.
Yeah.
He wins over the Tharks.
Yes.
And they're able to follow the prophecy. Deja Thoris gets to meet him, and they figure out that he's from Earth together, and they go on the hero's journey, and then Syrian Hines, the Jeddah of Helium, thinks he has to marry Deja Thoris to
Well, the what are those people called? The shapeshifter guys. They are the Thorns.
Well, the Therns.
The Therns.
Yeah, the Therns. The Therns. They're
The Therns are telling him that he needs to marry her, so that they will unite the cities. But then the plan is to kill her immediately after.
Right, and it's all
over Helium.
Yeah, it's all a ruse. I mean, the Zodanga. It's a big plot.
And so her father has to convince her that she has to marry him.
Because her father is trying to do what's right.
For peace, right? And she's like, she doesn't want to marry him. So that's why she ends up running away.
She doesn't love him.
Of course not. He's gross.
But Dominic West is a pretty handsome dude.
He's handsome, but he's evil.
Right. He is evil.
Yeah.
Would you marry him?
I mean, and plus she's a really smart scientist, and he's kind of dopey.
Yeah, he's kind of dopey. But he's got his weapon that the Therns have given him, which makes him... I mean, they're using that weapon. They can disintegrate the helium ships. I mean, they can't stand against it. They have no defense. But it is technology that Deja Thoris has been trying to get.
Right.
To acquire, to use it for...
Well, she figured out how to make it.
Yes.
And they destroyed that.
They destroyed that.
So, yeah.
There's battles and things and all this stuff happens and it's just wildly entertaining.
I keep saying that.
Don't you think that's okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Well, it bothers me because this film has so much love put into it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it did not have Disney's best marketing, it's the kind of thing that it's very disheartening.
It is. It's very strange.
As somebody who wants to make movies his whole life, and you love movies.
Absolutely.
That a film that has this much thought put into it.
And based on a book by a famous stories that we've loved since, this story's like so old. Right.
I mean, this is one of the classic science fiction stories of the 20th century. It's a foundational canon. If you talk about the great works of sci-fi canon, these books are part of that canon.
So what is the excuse? Like, what is the excuse Disney gives that this film didn't do well?
They can't give an excuse.
I mean, what is their response?
They
don't talk about it.
They talk about. I mean, there's actually a really interesting book called John Carter and the Gods of Hollywood that charts how long this took. And when I was reading this book, that's when I was sort of, because the author of the book was on the side. The idea was floating all of this, but there's a lot about the marketing. The marketing department of Disney was in flux at the time, and there was a lot of talk about, well, Mars Needs Moms. You can't have movies with Mars in the title, which is the most absurd.
Mars Needs Moms?
Yeah, that was an animated film. Like,
I did see that film.
Yeah, the movies that had the title that had Mars in them didn't do well. I mean, it's like.
But
look,
why does Mars need moms?
Well, because if there was Mars in the title, so they couldn't say John Carter of Mars or John Carter World. Because if the movie has Mars in the title, it's not going to do well. Which is the dumbest shit ever.
That doesn't make any kind of sense.
I know, but these are the things that were said. And, I mean, this marketing campaign...
That was an excuse.
This marketing campaign, what's amazing to me is, why don't you have, like, character posters? Why not you have Deja Thoris, who looks beautiful and are, like...
I want a Tim Riggins figure. I want a John Carter figure.
I mean, why not this poster? Why doesn't
poster.
Disney just use that as the poster, Princess of Mars, and just make Deja Thoris and Tim Riggins bigger?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me that the very imagery, the very iconography that came from this was used for Star Wars, and in trying to buy Star Wars, they murdered this movie. And I understand. I get it. I do understand. But you'd think that the marketing departments of Hollywood, they copy everybody. And they were already given a roadmap. And this movie, You don't even know it takes place on Mars. You don't even know if you see the original poster.
And I've never seen, before it came out, I never saw a trailer. And we went to lots of movies, so...
Well, this is before I knew
my
you.
My kids were young, and so I took them to, any Disney movie that came out, I would take them. I don't remember ever seeing a trailer for this.
No, and this movie's epic. It's huge in scope. And it does world building, I think, as good as any other science fiction film. It's got a lot of heart to it.
Yeah. I like this story. It's good.
It is good. I think it's really good. So, are there things you don't like about this movie?
I mean, I think...
There's no wrong answers.
I like the movie, so there really isn't... I mean, maybe some of it was a little confusing in the middle, but other than that, I think it was a very good story.
What do you mean by confusing? What did you think? I mean, it does the machinations of the plotter.
Yeah, you have to keep track of,
It gets pretty labyrinthian. Who's doing what to whom and who's... Yeah,
a little bit. But not so bad. I mean, if you stay awake, you'll get it.
You will get it. I mean, oh yeah, and it's... I'm there's so many great set pieces, like the White Apes, which is when you're a kid and reading the books, when the Tharks are going to sacrifice, they have to. It's like the arena battle in Geonosis in Attack of the Clones. I mean, it's this. People would say, "Well, John Carter copied Star Wars." It's like, come on, no.
Probably the other way around.
I mean the Geonosians who later built the Death Star, believe it or not, they have an arena battle. It's right out of John Carter. I mean, it's right out of A Princess of Mars. I mean, all this stuff. It's so influential in terms of Star Wars that you look at this, and I know that a lot of people would watch this and go, "Well, it's a little derivative of Star Wars." I mean, of course it is. But I think honestly, if you were to see this before you saw, if you were a kid and you saw this before you saw Star Wars, I bet it would be your favorite movie, if you were so inclined to like these things.
They're very similar. That's probably why. You're right.
I mean, they are very similar.
They are.
I mean, this whole thing inspired Star Wars. George up there, look, he's looking all smug back there.
He's like, I killed John Carter.
I didn't realize, now that we're talking Disney, he's standing next to the Rocketeer, and the Rocketeer got shafted too. Another movie that we should do. A good romantic film.
Did we do it? Or we just watched it?
We just watched it.
Oh, we didn't do it for this.
We didn't do the Rocketeer for this. Although that would be good to do.
It'd be fun.
All right, so do you have anything else about John Carter? I mean, come on, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was fun. I would love to see more.
I would too, and I'm surprised. I mean, obviously it cost a hell of a lot of money, and it just didn't make its money back because it was straight up assassinated. And the fact that there are the designs, the toys that they could have made from this film, I mean, it's so ready-made. Everything in it, there could be Thark play sets, there's a helium play set, Zodanga play set. You could have Lego toys of all the flying ships,
and Halloween costumes.
I mean, it's just, and a big stuffed Woola, like you said, with the blue tongue that would come out, his big mouth.
Right, so cute.
The fact that none of that exists blows me away.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine having like a life-size Woola, like actually that big?
I cannot.
That would be so fun.
It would be so fun. Well, and by the way, this cast, I mean, Taylor Kitsch as John Carter, Samantha Morton as Sola, Mark Strong as Matai, Syrian Hans as Tortoise Moores, the Jeddak of Helium, Dominic West, James Purefoy, Bryan Cranston, Polly Walker, Thomas Hayden Church, Willem Dafoe, David Schwimmer, Jon Favreau as the Thark bookmaker.
Wait, Willem Dafoe was
Tars Tarkas.
You're kidding.
No.
I didn't recognize
and
him.
he's the one who's doing the narration at the beginning of the movie, explaining what Barsoom was.
That's right. I was like, I know this voice, and I just couldn't.
Willem Dafoe.
Dude. Come on, man.
I don't know. I don't say.
Come on, man. John Carter. I think they should bring it back.
They should bring it back. They absolutely should. But, when something hasn't made a lot of money.
Well, they can try again to make a lot of money.
Well.
Although theaters aren't open, so. It'd be a good drive-in movie.
Yeah, well, what can I say? It would be. We have a letter.
Oh, awesome.
Dear Elizabeth and Rob, I'm a fan of the show, and since you discussed wanting to see other types of films, I suggest Lacho Dram from 1993, and here's why I think it might be a good choice. This film is Tony Gatliff's solution for introducing audiences to the history and diverse culture of the people we call gypsies, or the Romani, while entertaining a general audience. To do so, he found the most photogenic and exotic locations, the best musicians, and wrote short vignettes to introduce the viewer to these far-flung communities. There's almost no dialogue, and instead the artful music sequences provide the narrative following the Roma from northern India on their migration west across the Middle East, through the Balkans, into Eastern Europe, and on to Western Europe. Wow, this sounds great.
It sounds amazing.
I've never heard of this. It's sumptuously filmed and has a spectacular soundtrack, giving many of these professional musicians their first experience with modern recording studios. This is one of those films that defies definition. Too staged for a documentary, too documentary for a drama, French, but with almost no French spoken or sung. It is hauntingly beautiful and very passionate. I think the director succeeds in showing the resilience of the Romani, the most marginalized of people in Europe, while making entertainment for all. That comes from Jared Snyder, Helsing Junction Farm.
Very cool.
That sounds,
I really want to see that.
Yeah, I want to see that too. I don't know the film.
How can we get our hands on that?
We will have to get our hands up. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Make
it happen, Bobby.
I'm the pharaoh of physical media.
Come on, Bobby. You can do this.
I can get anything. I can. So, we should see what other people are saying.
Yes.
Should we not?
I wonder if others like this film as much as we do.
I wonder. Do. Who wrote the book of love? Calvin Bose is here and says, we interviewed John Glenn just before The Living Daylights came out, and he said you don't market a 007 film as a James Bond film. You sell it to the people who are looking for an action film. They should market Dune to people who want a fantasy film, not Dune fans. This is the same. This movie, in a way, obviously, I don't know if Frank Herbert was inspired by this film, but there's a lot of Dune in this movie.
That's what I wanted to say that, but
well, why don't you say it?
I didn't say it.
Do you think Calvin's correct? Do you think they should? I mean, are you excited for Dune?
I am. I am excited.
I mean, you saw the trailer, and the first thing you said, do you remember what you said?
This looks really interesting. I can watch this.
Yeah, you said this looks really interesting.
Yeah.
Even though you've watched the David Lynch version.
I have. And I hope this one's more... Nothing.
Careful. Careful. You hope this one's more what?
Nothing. I'm looking forward to it.
Dieter Bastian just sent me the new French release of Dune. It's a much better transfer.
Oh, great.
Perhaps you should revisit David Lynch's Dune.
Maybe I should.
We're going to have to do the original Dune when Dune comes out.
Okay, let's do that.
I mean, I'm really sad. I was really looking forward to doing Dawn of the Dead before Halloween, but it's been pushed back. The second sight, Dawn of the Dead, was pushed back to November.
What do you mean?
The new, beautiful... What do you mean? The ultimate box set of Dawn of the Dead has been delayed.
Why?
They're making it better.
Well,
That's what they do.
I mean, the movie's the movie. We could still do the movie.
No, we got to get the new transfer. I got to see the new transfer. We're going to honor the new transfer by doing it.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Julius is here. Let's drink to Julius because he sent us this wine, part of his wine club.
This wine is so good.
It's
I
so
really
good.
like this. I can't see what kind of grapes are in here.
Well, it came with a flyer that explains the whole...
I really, really,
wine.
really like this wine.
It is really, really, really good.
It's very floral. It's almost like drinking roses.
It is. Julius says, so this is the movie you chose for couples night? Honestly, Rocky made more sense. At least when you're in a relationship, it's perfectly natural to want to call someone a bum now and again, and or punch them repeatedly in the face. Romance, baby, yeah!
Come on, man. He marries a princess.
I know, this movie's all about love.
How romantic is that?
Exciting and
He
new.
doesn't want to go back to Earth because he's fallen in love with a princess, the
And then
princess of Mars.
He spends a decade and an incredible fortune to get back to her.
That's right. How romantic is that?
It's pretty romantic. I mean, you picked it. It's It's romantic Fridays.
I think it's romantic.
It is romantic. Romantic Fridays are your thing, and I think this film,
Right?
a princess of Mars. I mean, it's wish fulfillment for every young boy, and it's empowering fantasies for every young girl.
That's right.
I mean, Deja Thoris is no slouch. I mean, she kicks ass.
She does.
Well, that's good. Julius goes on to say, oh, and just for information's sake, your wine is called Pinchy Wine, created by Sean Boyd, with actor-model Aaron Diaz as the consulting winemaker. Didn't your parents tell you never to put anything in your mouths that you're unsure of? If I listened to my parents, half the girls I dated when I was in college, it would never have happened.
Wait, read that again?
And just for information's sake, your wine is called Pinchy Wine, created by Sean Boyd, with actor-model Aaron Diaz as the consulting winemaker.
Oh, interesting.
I think actor-model Aaron Diaz should also be actor-model winemaker? Would he be add the whole thing? Didn't your parents tell you never put anything in your mouths that you're unsure of? The first 10 years I lived in L.A.
Sometimes you just have to take a risk.
Yeah, sometimes, you just got to shut your eyes and dive right in. That's what I say.
Pinchy. I really like
Pinchy.
it.
Senor Ashish sends in one of three. The character of John Carter and his stories are from a long-forgotten time, an era of intrigue and spirit for adventure, an age of wonder before travel became accessible to all, before airplanes, before television and the internet. National Geographic magazines brought the world into people's homes. The world has moved on since that era, and so has the genre and medium John Carter's adventures flourished in. His adventures inspiring the genre. The movie was a little too late. I don't think that's true.
No.
Indiana Jones wasn't too late. A throwback to another era. I think it still works.
I think so too.
Wait, he goes on. Maybe the key to making a successful John Carter adaptation is through serialized form, a streaming series with great production value, 8 to 10 episodes each season, an adaptation of each of his adventures. I pray we see live-action John Carter adventures again. Yeah, but I don't think this movie is not good. I think this movie is very, very good.
But it would make a good series too. Actually, that would be cool.
It would
I
be
love
cool.
the movie. I mean, the movie should launch a series.
Well, yeah, it should if somebody's not worried about whether or not they can't buy Star Wars.
Yeah, but now Star Wars is bought.
No, I agree, and I think these books are you have the right showrunners with enough vision. You could absolutely. They should do. Look, they should make a John Carter. They should adapt all of the John Carter books for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They should get Pixar to come back, and they should have Andrew Stanton consult, and they should do an entire John Carter series.
Yes.
And they should spin it off from this movie.
Yeah, totally.
Why not just keep it in continuity?
Yeah.
They've got a $250 million pilot already.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the other books are like, but I thought the ending was really interesting too, where he gets his nephew to.
His nephew is Edgar Rice Burroughs, who writes these books.
Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved that part too. I thought that was very interesting. The way he lured one of the Therns to get the medallion by faking his death, and
it's a great ending. It's such a great ending to the story.
But you could even include some of that in a series.
Yeah.
Like the adventures of the nephew.
Well,
and what he has to do to protect the body.
Well, Edgar Rice Burroughs could be a actual character in the. I think they should. They did it in the movie.
That'd be so cool.
They
could even show him like riding Tarzan.
Well, they could.
That would be cool.
Because he does say, John Carter says, live a little, go fall in love, write a book. Write a book. Wayne Edwards. Wayne, thank you so much for the support of the channel. I'm watching this as I get ready for my dinner date. How fitting. Thanks for doing this. I love this film. Let's drink to Wayne and his date.
Yay. Well,
let's hope Wayne's date ends with him not worrying about where his tongue goes.
Wow. Well, if it's a first date, maybe hold off on that?
No, because if it's a first date, well, yes. You got to see, because, my policy is never really kiss anybody on a first date.
Yeah, but you did kiss me on our first date.
I know. Was it good?
Yes.
Was it a good first kiss?
It was.
All right. We had a really good first date.
We did.
It was pretty epic, if I do say so myself. Oh, well, here's to Wayne. And Tim's here. Tim the Spider Monkey says, this makes me think of the movie version of Solomon Kane. Both killed by poor planning, although Solomon Kane was just a bad movie. Strangely enough, both star James Purefoy, an actor who I think doesn't get enough credit he deserves. I wouldn't say James Purefoy stars in this, but he's in it, and he's great. He's great. Hey, look who's here. Claudius.
Hello.
Claudius says, Tatooine. So you name it and think that you know it. The sand planet, endless wastes and mysteries. But you do not really know Tatooine, for its true name is Mars, or Barsoom, or even, Affololo. But its memory is dying. We can thank Star Wars for that. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
and look,
definitely.
This movie, if it was marketed, if they went in, I think this movie would have done really, really well.
Right? If they really had pushed it. Come on, man. You had Tim Riggins.
You did have Tim Riggins. And it's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
So, do you have anything else that you care to share about this movie?
No, I think people should revisit this film. I think it's on Disney Plus.
I think it probably is.
Yeah, and share it with your kids.
We should start a letter writing campaign.
We should
to bring back John Carter,
exactly.
I mean, they really should do a series, because if you think about it, all of the digital assets that were created for the Tharks and all that, they already exist.
Right.
They're probably archived at Pixar. So, I mean, it's the technology is increased, and I'm sure that these books have been, I don't know what the rights situation is. I don't understand. I mean, A Princess of Mars.
Yeah. Come on, Disney. We want more John Carter.
More John Carter.
John
and
Carter
Taylor
of
Kitsch,
Mars.
Taylor Kitsch, what's he doing? Like, I mean, he's actually done. He played David Koresh, and he's done some good stuff.
Yeah.
But bring him back.
Bring him back.
Bring it back. Bring back Lynn to play Deja Thoris. Why not?
Do it. Let's do it.
I know. William DeThrog is here. All I remember about the promotion of this was the cost. People bitching about the cost. Who gives a crap? Missed opportunity for sure. Yeah, they were talking about how expensive this movie was, and if people had gone to see the film and it had done well,
it could have. I really think that it could have.
I do too. All right, well, Le Claudius says, I would love to see a series on Valerian Laureline. Oh, that's why you're saying. I was thinking Alfololo, whatever. I do not know Valerian and Laureline, even though I saw the movie, and I don't hate the movie, to be honest.
What movie?
Valerian.
Oh.
Luc Besson's Valerian.
I haven't seen it.
With or without Luc Besson, I know it's French, but I am pretentious, and I enjoy many French things. I have a French name, I drink French wines, and I have a French sailboat.
Ooh, there you
Well,
go.
speaking of French, let me consult with the number. Let's see where we're at. You have to explain to people, like, you speak fluent French, so...
Yes, my mother's French, and I grew up, it was my first language, and I would go every other summer to my grandmother's in France and spend the entire summer there. So I promised when we reached 30,000 subscribers that I would speak French on the show.
Well, we're less than 1,000 away.
That is
Our
amazing.
channel is growing. We have
because I said that when we had 24,000 subscribers.
24,000. Well, we have 29,098 subscribers.
Wow.
So we are 902.
We're so close.
Now I have to ask, how is that going to work? Like, when you speak French
I
on
don't
this
know.
show, are people going to ask you to speak French, or are you just going to just randomly talk French? How are you going to speak French? How's that going to work?
I better plan this now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a good thing
Yeah.
to do. Plan it. I would
plan it.
plan it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, all right.
It'll be special.
Claude says he has a French sailboat.
That is so cool.
Does that mean it's manufactured in France?
I don't know, but I want to be on a French sailboat.
I would like to be on a French sailboat too, preferably in like the French Riviera.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
One of those things. Now, Alfolo, I don't know how to pronounce it. You know, first of all, Valerian and Laureline is a very famous French comic book series that Luc Besson based his movies. He wanted to make that movie. I like Valerian.
I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it.
I think it's miscast. I think the leads should have been in their mid-30s. I think it's Dane DeHaan is Valerian, and Laureline is Carla Delevingne. And they're not bad in the movie. They're just, I don't believe them. I need to see somebody a little bit older.
Well, I don't even know what this story is, so you're telling me these things, and I have no idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
we'll watch it. I've got the 4K. It looks.
Well, we should watch it.
We should watch it. All right. Well, you know, our time is up.
Yeah.
So, Elizabeth, we come to our bottoms up scale.
Our bottoms up scale.
And what is our bottoms up scale?
Our bottoms up scale is from 1 to 4 glasses because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle. So.
And on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, 4 being the best, what would you give John Carter?
I would give John Carter 3.75.
3.75. I'm going to give John Carter 3.5 glasses of wine.
There you go.
3.5 glasses of wine. Now, I'm sure many of our audience is wondering, are you guys ever going to watch The Verdict?
Okay, let's tell the truth about this. The reason we keep putting it, or Rob keeps putting it off,
That's not
is
true.
because he cannot find his disc. He cannot find it. He's looked through, because we're moving all the Blu-rays into the observatory. He put it in a box, and he thought it was in a certain box, and he dug through it, and he couldn't find it. So that is why he keeps putting off.
Keeps
putting off our show because he can't find the disc.
Why do you have to sell me out like this live?
Because I feel like they should know that we're flaking, or you're flaking, because he can't find the disc.
I thought we're supposed to like support one another, and you know.
I am supporting you. I'm defending your actions. See, I'm explaining that you can't find the disc.
Which is frustrating to me because, you know, I've spent a long time organizing everything, but there is the last section of I've got everything in here except the
last shelf with the V's and the
the V's and the T's and the yes. It's from T to Z. The T to Z big shelf is not.
They are.
Which will be in place
missing in
tomorrow.
action.
It'll be in place tomorrow. It'll be in place tomorrow.
So I don't know if The Verdict should be our next movie or maybe the one after that. Maybe the next movie should be something that you know that you have on the shelf.
Yes. Why don't we make The Verdict? We'll again Wednesday. Well, I'll know where it is by Wednesday.
Okay.
We could say that.
Yeah, but if we don't have The Verdict on Wednesday,
we will.
It will be another movie. We can't put off the show because you can't find the disc.
And when are we going to start our Star Trek show?
We should start it.
Yeah, this week.
Here's the thing: the schedule might change a little bit because.
Yeah, why don't you explain what's happening?
Next week I start my new semester, and I am taking twice as many classes.
Your semester where?
At Art Center College of Design, here in Pasadena.
By the way, Claudius sent in another tip, and he said, "My friends, a boat has no name, or Sirius Black is a 30-year-old Beneteau 235, 23 and a half feet long, sailboat with a fixed keel. When you come to Virginia, we can sail the Potomac." Ooh, I would love that.
Oh, goodness. Let's do it.
We got to go. We don't even have to socially distance.
We don't.
Not when you're on the Potomac.
Yeah, when you're in the, yeah.
You know, that's amazing. Wesley Crusher's balls tipped $1. Well, you can answer this because you've been watching Next Generation, and you already saw Final Mission. You know, Wesley's gone to the academy.
He has.
Have you seen the First Duty yet? When they go to the academy? When
No.
Wesley's, you haven't seen that yet? Wesley Crusher's balls sends in a tip and says, "I keep waiting for them to grow. What should I do?" Do you have any advice?
To grow balls.
He keeps waiting for them to grow. I mean, he's in his 40s. Has he grown a pair of balls? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
Well, you don't have any advice?
On how to grow balls? I mean, I don't have balls, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, how about from a metaphoric or a figurative standpoint? Grow a pair of balls. Some
Yeah,
cojones.
just stand up for what you believe in.
All I have is my word on my balls, and I don't break them for nobody.
That's great.
That's Tony Montana, a political prisoner from the island of Cuba. I tell you what to do. I got to get my Tony Montana action figure out. I have a really good.
Oh, where
Tony.
is he?
He's up in the attic. I'll bring him down. He has a
Yeah,
chair.
because we also have to do Free the Toys.
I know. I've got a lineup of Free the Toys. We're going to start that.
Okay, we need to start recording that. I'm going to be really busy with school, so everything has to be on a tight schedule.
Okay.
I know you're not good with schedules, especially tight schedules.
I'm very good with tight schedules. I mean, come on. I do like 4 shows one day, you know.
I know, but sometimes you start at noon, sometimes you start at 2, sometimes...
Yeah, because there's other things I'm doing.
I'm... Okay, but I'm just saying, the next 3 months, everything's going to be on a tight schedule.
Okay. All right.
I mean...
Robert Priso says Liz needs a Zed. Nobody makes a good Zed.
I need a Zed. Somebody make me a Zed.
They don't make a good Zed. I mean, you'd have to get like a good.
All you need is.
No, don't.
Yeah, come
no,
on. He's just
please.
right here. He's just
no,
right
I know,
here.
but that's
I know.
old Sean Connery. You
I
can't
know,
mix
but
that up.
you need a young Sean Connery. But here, you just need a Sean Connery.
No, you. No, you can't see. You want to switch the camera?
Yeah, I do.
We're getting. This is
All
a
you
loopy
need-
Friday night show. You're off topic here. Off topic.
All you need is a Sean Connery. See, a young one.
A young one.
There is a young one, isn't there?
Yeah, but they come on very expensive figures. You're not going to take a Sean Connery head sculpt off.
And then, I could alter his hair, because I made it my own doll with my own hair, and then making his costume is easy because it's just a red ribbon with a bow.
Well, there you go. Don't put it on.
His
the keyboard.
package is wrapped with a bow.
His package is wrapped with a bow. Paul Newman's Ghost sends in a tip and says, if you can't find my verdict, but you should start with Michael Douglas's Star Chamber instead. The Star Chamber was directed by Peter Hyams, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, The Verdict is a way better movie. The Star Chamber is high concept, whereas The Verdict... I mean, I like The Star Chamber. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't own The Star Chamber.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah, well, we could watch it. It's pretty good.
What's our next movie?
Ooh, that's a good question. What is our next movie? Gosh. I don't know. I don't know yet. What is our next movie?
Do you want me to pick?
No. You know what our next movie is? You know what our next film is?
What?
I'm going to say it right now.
What is it?
I can't wait to say this. Our next movie, Monday's movie, is The Hunt for Red October. Yep. Someone's going to sit through The Hunt for Red October. Someone's going to find out that it's...
For the 100th time.
No, you're going to find out it's not boring. You say it's boring. You won't watch it. The Hunt for Red October is not boring at all. We're watching The Hunt for Red October.
It is Sean Connery after
and
all.
he just celebrated his 90th birthday. I'm going to make you watch The Hunt for Red October. Everyone loves The Hunt for Red October. You're watching The Hunt for Red October. That's it. Monday night, I'm going to set up the show tonight.
Are you getting back at me because I said that about you not keeping a schedule?
Yes. Yes, I am. Why, yes, I am doing that. The Hunt for Red October. I have a lot to say about that film, and so will you.
I guess so.
All right.
All right.
Well then, Elysabeth, I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel generously. Michael Douglas's Ghost says, you don't own my movie, The Star Chamber? First of all, Michael Douglas is not dead. And I do not own The Star Chamber. Not top 5 Peter Hyams for me. But I haven't seen it in a long time. So I want to thank our moderating staff. Mr. Derringer is here. Robert Pariso is here. The Richard is here. Joshua Levesque is here. Wow, we have a potpourri of
look at that. Lots of moderators tonight.
Want to thank the moderators for being here. Want to thank Mike Bodden. Want to thank Greg Smith, the cornerstones of this channel, and everyone go find the YouTube channel, Whining About Movies, or find the Post Geek Singularity Facebook page and find the Richard. He's always having Zoom parties, watch parties, showing things, playing music. You know, Richard said to me, he's like, we're gonna have a double D party with Dolly Parton and show all Dolly Parton movies. And I go, I think that's a really good idea, but don't call it a double D party. Don't do that. Not in our Me Too era.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the
Don't
King
do
of Country, the Queen of Jolene.
Come on, she's Jolene.
Call her the Queen of... Well,
Or
she's
the
not
enemy
Jolene.
of Jolene.
Yeah, the Queen of Jolene. Something, but I think that's pretty good. I mean, I saw 9 to 5.
Islands in the Sand. Come on, man.
Islands in the Stream.
In the Stream.
Islands in the Stream.
That's our duet that we're gonna do one day.
We have never sang karaoke. I've busted out my number one karaoke song is Manilow's Copacabana. How many times have you seen me sing that?
I know, but
when have I ever seen you sing karaoke?
Never, but
Never.
We're gonna.
And you want to do Islands in the Stream?
Yeah, when I'm drunk enough.
But then you can't. You
We're gonna
can't
do-
enunciate.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna do Islands in the Stream.
Okay. Sure. Sure we will.
We
Okay.
will.
Well.
Made you choke on your wine.
You made me choke on my wine. Her name was Lola. Anyway, we're gonna end this show.
Are we?
We're ending the show now. Yes, we're gonna end the show now. Robservations will be back tomorrow. By the way, I have to say, I had a bit of a super chat mishap today. So after I do this, I'm going to be recording an addendum to today's Robservations with the super chats that I missed on their own special video that I'm going to do right after the show. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's special.
I know. I'm going to do that. I messed up. It was some weird... it was a glitch. It was a technical malfunction. That's what Gus Grissom said in The Right Stuff. Anyway, we will be back on... I guess so we're not going to do... I was going to do a special verdict show on Sunday because I was that...
Well, we can if you find it. We're going to have to change the schedule. I mean, Mondays are still okay, but I don't know about Wednesdays anymore.
Well, we'll look about... Yeah, I know your school schedule. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do...
unless we do it later, because my class ends at 7.
Oh, yeah, well, we could do it later. We could do it at 8. You know, we'll just announce it. And you know what? We should come up with a schedule. Like
Yes.
weeks in advance. We should
Yes.
probably step up,
Well, this
put
weekend-
on our big boy pants and come up with a schedule.
That's what I'm saying.
That we'll stick to. That's what we'll do. We're going to come up... You know what? Our schedule should be a month-to-month schedule. Amen. Let's do that.
Amen. Yes.
We'll do that. We'll publish the Whining About Movies schedule. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes, like I said, we need to be... It has to be very tight and a very tight schedule.
Throg Rogers Nelson says, I karaoke and awesome Prince Rogers Nelson version of Kiss. I karaoke well, I can't... I would pay money to see Throg. You know what, Throg? If you bust out your karaoke version of Kiss, I will play it on Robservations. I'll play the video.
That'd be awesome.
I can't wait. You don't have to be rich, Throg, to be my girl. I just want some extra time. And your Kiss. Anyway, let's do that.
Yeah, we're going to do that. I'm going to work on a schedule this weekend.
All right, so we come to the end of Elysabeth's number 73.
73.
73. Take us out.
Okay. Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen.
All you have to do is listen. That is true. And
Blue milk sucks.
blue milk sucks. That's what we learned today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank B.L. Alley for another fine episode of his own show making fun of us, which I never get tired of. Does that make me a cuck?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so, and...
Have a better night.
Have a better night. This episode, maybe we didn't talk about John Carter enough, but it was pretty damn fun.
Well, you kind of stopped me from going through the plot.
Yeah, but that would have taken you 10 hours. I thought it was fine. Let's see. That was